everybody be so happy with you for trying to, speak their language, but not the best looking girls. They'll just penalize you for it. At Connor Klein's YouTube channel, I think it's the Czar Experience, or I think he changed the name. But anyways, he talks about learning the local language when you're in a foreign country, but I think he overstates how easy it is. It's incredibly hard to become fluent in a local language, and the pretty girls that you meet in the clubs, they're just going to penalize you if you're not local. I mean, if you're not fluent in their language, because then it looks like you're kissing up to them. It looks like you're simping to them because you're trying to make them like you by showing them that you can speak their language when you can't. Hello and welcome back to the channel. On this channel we talk about solo travel across the world for guys, and particularly taking your first trip overseas. And if you're a guy and you're overseas and you want to talk to girls, one of the things that you should know is that even though the world tries to know English, or they try to learn English, the best looking girls, in my experience, my anecdotal experience, the best looking girls overseas don't know English, and they can't speak English. So when you're overseas, and with exceptions, obviously, I mean, if you're overseas and you're in some little village in, I don't know, the outskirts of Baku, Azerbaijan, if that girl deals a lot with Westerners, like if she's like a tour guide or something like that, or she teaches a foreign language, she helps Westerners learn the local language, they'll know English, obviously, and they'll be super good looking. But for the most part, without those exceptions, the better looking the girls are, the less they speak English overseas. And it's probably because they have everything that they already, the prettiest girls overseas probably have the world at their oyster. The world is their oyster. They probably have everything they could possibly want. They don't need to go through the trouble and hard work of learning a foreign language. Even though they learn it in school, for the most part, the whole world pretty much learns English in school, but that does not mean that they know how to speak it. So keep that in mind. Another thing I will say is that when you're trying to talk to girls, whether you're in the coffee shop or the mall or the bar or the club or whatever, and the girls speak, obviously they speak their local language. If you're not fluent in their language, then don't try to speak their language. It's better for you to try to speak English. And I know this kind of goes against what some YouTubers say. I know I watched that Connor Klein's YouTube channel. I think it's the Czar Experience, or I think he changed the name. But anyways, he talks about learning the local language when you're in a foreign country. But I think he overstates how easy it is. It's incredibly hard to become fluent in a local language. And the pretty girls that you meet in the clubs, they're just going to penalize you if you're not local. I mean, if you're not fluent in their language, because then it looks like you're kissing up to them. It looks like you're simping to them because you're trying to make them like you by showing them that you can speak their language when you can't. So my advice is just don't try to speak the local language unless you're fluent in it, and it's better just to speak in English. So again, I don't know if that's the prevailing. Again, that's my anecdotal experience. Because when I was in Ukraine, I was in Odessa. What was it? 2021, I guess it was. And I remember I knew the girls who told me that they didn't speak English. I knew they didn't like me, right? But the girls who said that they did, or they understood English, whatever, then I knew that they, were somewhat interested in me. And I knew they were really interested in me when their English sucked. And so, it's like they were terrible at it, but they were standing right there though. And, they never left. And so then you kind of use Google Translate and all that. So it's kind of like a litmus test for whether the girls are interested in you when you're overseas. So anyways, that's my take on the English level of good-looking girls overseas. If it's your first time traveling, then again, it might surprise you kind of how low the English level is with, the best-looking girls. And again, it's good to know some of the language for like the shop people or the babushkas, the grandmothers, or if you're just in, regular tourist life, just being a good tourist, it's awesome to know some of the local language. And everybody will be so impressed with you and everybody be so happy with you for trying to, speak their language, but not the best looking girls. They'll just penalize you for it. And so that's a distinction anyway. Anyways, hope that helps. Again, that's just kind of my anecdotal experience from traveling the world for 20 years. I remember my first trip overseas when I was in Spain in 2006. I walked into some bar in Madrid and none of the girls spoke English, and so it was. But they were super, super cool, super friendly, and that was my experience. And it's been pretty consistent for the last 20 years or so. So, anyways, hope that helps. If you have any questions, leave them in the DM. And shout out to Connor Klein. He has a very cool channel. Check out his channel. I think it's the New Europe or New something that he changed his channel to. But check out his channel too. He has a lot of good information on there also. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.